Did you learn something new today? Share it. Did you get stuck on something today? Share it. Did you have a challenge that you worked through and you got there? Share it. Did you have a chat with someone that's related to your niche? Well, you guessed it. Share it. Tag them and give them a shout out. I made the most money on Twitter ever in October. It actually outperformed all my other incomes by 10x. In this video, I want to break down how you can do it too. I think Twitter is one of the best platforms to make money on because it doesn't require a lot of work compared to, say, writing a blog post or a YouTube video where you have a lot of back and forth with the client because there's so many different ways that they can be created. Whereas on a tweet, you've only so many iterations that you can do. Yes, you typically earn less per tweet compared to other types of content, but when you add up the smaller amounts and the time it takes to put them together, Twitter posts still require less time for the better financial result. A bit of background about my Twitter journey for anyone who doesn't know it. I have been on Twitter for a long time, but I'm not going to count that because I didn't really use it back then. But for the last 1.5 years, let's go back to April 2021, where I had 4K of followers and got my first sponsored tweet. Yes, I earned my first dollar in April 2021 from Twitter. At that point, I thought, right, so I signed up to FeedHive, which is a great tool to plan your social posts across multiple platforms. It also has features we need when we want to start going pro on Twitter, make that money. For example, drafting tweets and then sharing a draft linked with the client for their approval. Labeling tweets to easily find them afterwards so that after they've been posted, you can get the analytics without going through all your timeline. You can filter by that client content and then grab those analytics so you can share it with the client. And they love to see that. Be transparent. I scheduled 4 to 6 tweets per day using FeedHive with a variety of types. And by types, I mean technical, tips, behind the scenes, motivational, as well as different formats. As you can see, some of them have photos, some of them are text only, some of them have video or audio attached to them as well. Then within 6 months, I reached around 30,000 followers and started making money regularly from Twitter. So just to be clear, you don't need a lot of followers to start making money. But obviously, as you grow, as you get more followers, as you get more engagement, you can put your prices up. And we're going to talk about that a bit later on. So I started doubling down on Twitter because once you make money on something, you usually can scale it up. 1.5 years later takes us to today, where I almost have 100,000 followers. 99.9, and I'm turning down sponsored tweets. Why? Well, I don't want to flood my timeline with sponsored tweets, although they're all on brand, all focused on open source, which we'll get to later on as well. But this is a good problem to have. I can select the clients and content that I want to create, and I want this for you. And if I can do it, I know you can do it. Now you must be thinking, well, how can I do this? And what special set of skills do I need? Well, you don't need a special set of skills like this guy, Liam Neeson in Taken, and any skills you do need, you can learn as you go along the way. The only thing you do need is consistency. You don't need to be intense about it, but you need to be consistent. I know what you're thinking. Well, what do I post about? Well, okay, let's start right at the beginning. First, pick your niche. This can change later, but try to select something that you really enjoy and you're really passionate about, as this makes tweeting and creating content easier, and we're going to talk about how we can make it even easier in a moment. A great way to discover your niche. If you had to talk about something without planning it, what could you talk about for hours? So now you've picked your niche, now you need to pick a sub-niche. Yes, a sub-niche. Bear with me, let me explain. A sub-niche is your niche's niche. Or try to pick something that overlaps 2 niches. So for example, I've picked 2 overlapping niches. I've picked for open source and web dev. I focus on those 2 areas all the time. But it doesn't mean I don't share tips on freelancing, remote working, and digital nomad. I always focus on relating to tech 80% of the time, but 20% of the time I branch out. I know creating content is difficult, but it doesn't have to be if you document your journey. Yes, document what you're doing. That way you have unlimited content. I'm not saying vlog every day or do anything like that, but did you learn something new today? Share it. Did you get stuck on something today? Share it. Did you have a challenge that you worked through and you got there? Share it. Did you have a chat with someone that's related to your niche? Well, you guessed it. Share it. Tag them and give them a shout out. You see where I'm going with this? It's not all about tips, because people want to follow people. You need to be authentic. Show the good side, show the successes, and also show the failures. Talking about failures, well, I had a shadow ban about 5 weeks ago, just before my busiest month. What a shadow ban means is you're not banned, you're still there on the platform, but you're not discoverable. You don't appear in anyone's timeline, you don't get recommended to people, even the people that follow you. People have to actually go to your timeline, to your profile page to try and find your content. So that was a painful 8 days. I learned from it. I sort of know 100% know what I did wrong. I think replying thank you a lot to many people, maybe they thought I was a bot or spamming or something. So I now try to write unique replies to people, which is actually better for them and for me. So that's actually probably a hard lesson to learn. So we share our successes, but we also share our failures, and therefore other people can learn from that. People want to follow people. Share the occasional picture of you behind the scenes. Share your workspace. You get the idea. Show that you are you. Here are some extra practical tips for your tweets. Don't put a link in the main tweet. Put it in the reply, because Twitter, like all social platforms, don't want people to leave their platform. So it will penalize the main tweet if there is a link in it. And don't copy other people's tweets. Be inspired by them, but don't copy them. You need to be you, not somebody else. Be careful when using hashtags and don't overuse them. I would say at the beginning, use no more than 3 hashtags and then slowly try to reduce them. I actually rarely use hashtags. So when you're approaching kind of 10,000, you probably want to stop using hashtags. And please only tag people when it's actually about them, not to try and get more engagement. That's spammy, and the platform doesn't like spam, the people don't like spam, and if people don't like spam, the platform doesn't like spam. You see kind of where we're going with this? And when you do tag people, if it makes sense to tag them in the main tweet, not in the photo or the reply. That's really cheap. You want to give the community a shout out because they're more likely to reshare it with their community. By tagging them in the reply or tagging them in the photo or screenshot, they will get the notification, but not the benefit of having the exposure to their profile. And again, it will seem a bit spammy. Don't share your links in DMs or on other platforms like Discord. This might sound like a great idea to accelerate your engagement and might get you some more views and likes in the short term. However, it will not only annoy people on those platforms, but it will actually hurt your content because they might go have a look on the post, but then they will immediately leave the platform. And how did we discuss a moment ago? The platform wants you to stay on the platform. So if they leave the platform after the last thing they do is looking at your content, it indicates to Twitter that your content is not keeping people on the platform, which will be detrimental to your account. Now you have content going out. There is still a bit more you need to do. When you get replies to your tweets, make sure you engage with them. It is a social platform, so be social. I appreciate as you grow, you can't reply to everybody, but I actually try to reply to everybody that follows me. I know it's not a great way to grow the numbers and chase the vanity metrics that everyone seems to want to chase, but it reinforces the connections I have with people that follow me. I know other people who are bigger than me then reduce the notifications to people they follow. That way they can grow the relationship with those people further. But I'm not there yet. I'm still spending many hours per day trying to connect and grow a relationship with the people that follow me because you're all awesome. You all support me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And don't reply to their replies with thanks. As I mentioned, you might get a shadow ban for that, or use an emoji. Try to keep the conversation going because then they will engage more because they feel like you're giving them some of your time and your effort, and they've put effort into reply, and they feel like they're not just a number, that they're part of your community. Plus, the algorithm will like this too. In addition to this, you need to engage with other people in your niche. Add value to their tweets. If you do this enough times that adds value to their content, they're more likely to go check out your content, and which means they're more likely to engage with it, reshare it with their community, and all that great stuff. Once you have this momentum, there will be nothing stopping you. But next, you need a pricing page. Yes, a public pricing page with all your Pricing. I see so many people missing out on this opportunity because so many companies won't contact you if you haven't got a pricing page because it doesn't look very professional and they're worried it might be too cheap or too expensive and so forth. They're busy too. They haven't got a lot of time. But the main two reasons are so you don't get people who aren't on the same page as you and trying to offer you like $1 for your content. Don't waste their time and don't waste your time, especially when you're kind of getting 20, 30 per day and you're applying to all of them, trying to keep it personal and engage with them. But at the end of the day, their budget is considerably smaller than what you want to charge. Two, it makes people feel that you're confident with your pricing. You're confident to put it up there and you're not making it up as you go along. It can be difficult to come up with your pricing, but you can look at other people's pricing and see how their engagement and followers tie into yours and roughly gauge what your pricing should be. You can always increase this later. It is better to have 10 paying clients than 0 paying clients at a higher amount, but they're not paying. Let's work out with some numbers with that. Let's make it more specific. It's better to have 10 clients paying you $100 per tweet than you having 0 clients paying you $1,000 per tweet. You see where I'm going with this? So definitely put the pricing sensible. You don't want to devalue yourself, but make it sensible. And then as you start getting busy, whatever your limit is of tweets you want to do, 2 per week, 1 per day, whatever it is, as you start approaching that, then you start increasing your pricing. So it's the whole supply and demand. Also on your pricing page, make sure you put your rules, what you will and won't do, because some companies will try and push the boundaries and try and get you to do more and more and more. So definitely have the rules. I would say make sure it's in your niche. You don't want to be a sellout and start doing things completely differently. So if you're in tech like me, you don't want to start doing, I don't know, hair care products or cars or bikes or something. You want to keep it focused in your niche. That way the content will do better. Your community won't feel like you're a sellout. And if the content's doing better, they're more likely to come back and spend more money with you. Let's conclude. Plan your social posts ahead. So when you get busy, you don't mess up your cadence, that frequency, that consistency. Feeding the algorithm is really important. Don't feed the trolls. Get friendly with that block button. Make sure you block them. If someone disagrees with you, that's absolutely fine, as long as they disagree with you in a professional way. But you can definitely spot a troll from a mile away and block them. But keep up your frequency. Keep feeding the algorithm with great content. Focus on your niche, but do a variety of types of formats. Images, audio, video, whatever works for you, but do try and mix it up. Respond to as many replies as possible. Now you've got these set of skills, go use them. And any question, leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, you can help me. It'll cost you nothing, but you can help me by giving this video a thumbs up and maybe sharing it with your friends. I really appreciate that. I really look forward to chatting to you in the Eddie Hub Discord so we can geek out between videos and live streams. Link in the description below.